Sober life. An addict's life, an addict's sober life, is a life that's different than his addict life. An addict's life is a life of strife, it's a life of less, it's a life he lives and doesn't guess. It's going to be any different any day because he doesn't plan, he doesn't say, I'm going to do this tomorrow or that this day. I'm going to make an appointment and go there and be there and stay there if I need to, whatever it takes. An addict doesn't think like that. Woman or a man, they don't think like that. The next moment is the one that matters most, whether they're going to get high or not, they're going to have money or not to do the thing they need to do. Sober life is an addict's dream. Every dream that an addict has that can be a dream is leaded by a sober life that they find is too extreme. It's something that they can't do, they can't believe could happen to them if they just believe a little bit more, that they could leave the addict life and just be the sober life that they need to be, because an addict's life is not something they want to be. No addict wants to be an addict extreme on the street, living from hand to mouth, not knowing if they're going to eat, not knowing if they're going to be able to feed the friend that's with them, the son, the daughter, the child, or whatever it might be. Because an addict's life, no matter where, is something that always shows they care. They share, but they don't care about the other lives around them too, because the other lives are the ones that say an addict's life is just a shame, it's a scam, it's a farce, it's a bullshit thing that they do. They do it to themselves. They're just an excuse to live the way they want to choose. But when there's no choice in being an addict anymore, and there's no choice in living the life you have no choice but to live in the shit and the muck that you made by being an addict that couldn't stay away from getting high and getting lit. That's an addict's life. That's not the sober life. But when the sober life comes, and the sober life it does, it comes for the addict who tries, who doesn't leave and say, you know what, I'm going to die. Because an addict who wants to die is an addict who doesn't try to live a better life. An addict on the street with loss of everything, and then they do it on repeat. They go to detox, rehab, and then repeat. They lose their shit. They get a job. They lose their shit. They're on the street, back on in detox, back in fucking rehab once again. That's on repeat. But when they break that repeat, and then the addict exceeds the addict life to a degree, the sober life, the dream, because something becomes something that they believe. Then an addict believes that they can dream once again about the dreams they had before they were an addict, before addiction took away their dreams. An addict's life is something that doesn't have dreams. It's only nightmares that repeat. It's only things that say they can't be. A normal person, a normie person, a square, that they can't be that. A square is a person that an addict says is a dummy, is a fool, is a scumbag that can't even, handle a tool, can't do anything at all. They're just tools to an addict to do and use as they want and please, to get what they need when they need. Because a normie, a tool, is what they are to them, can be turned and churned and made to do what an addict wants. But not because an addict is skilled at controlling someone's will. It's simply because an addict is still at controlling nothing at all. They just sit and stay and wait until the sympathy of a normie comes their way. The empathy of a normie comes their way. Or normie that will say, I won't go away. I'll be your friend. But then the addict who isn't sincere is the addict who uses the normie to be their tool, to be their fool. But a square is no fool, because an addict who recovers, an addict who fights, an addict who gets out of the muck, an addict who rises above the fray, above the I'm going to stay on the street homeless, above all that shit that those down there think is the shit, because they don't have anything else to think is the shit. They make the best of what they have, and then they die if they don't recover, if they don't rise, if they don't try for a better life. But when you're sober and you're addict recovered and you're trying, you're the addict that stays. You're the addict that prays. You're the addict that wants to be a better addict than the addict you were before. because you want to be addicted to life. You want to be addicted to good. You want to be addicted to right. You want to be addicted to other people in your life. You don't want to be alone, isolated, in contempt. You don't want to feel the anger and the and the things that people might say to you in your face. Still, the addict recovered. You're not believed quite yet, but you're getting close. Is what the addict recovered has to deal with. And that doesn't help. It doesn't help them to be better. It helps them to remember the past. It helps them to remember the shame. It helps them to remember the things that were inside that made them choose to use the addict way. But when an addict is strong, the addict will say nothing at all to the words thrown for shame. An addict will be above. They will be the water walker. They will be the shot caller. They will have the job. They will have the house. They will have the things that the square has. They will be the potential tool. And they'll know that they're right to be the tool. They're right to be the fool. They're right to do what those squares and normies did for them. And they were lucky that they did them for them. They were lucky to have them in their lives. Because now they, the square, the normie fool, the tool, gets to do it for other addicts that they know a little more. They can share a little bit of their wisdom of what they learned before about the repeat, about it doesn't have to be the repeat, that they can go ahead and exceed the repeat and break that cycle and fly a little higher, go a little straighter for a little longer until they can't repeat because they just forget how to be an addict. They just forget what it's like. They just forget why they did it at all. They just forget. And to forget is something that is wrong for an addict to do. It is wrong for an addict to take for granted that they forget, but it is good that they can forget. But they must always be aware, the addict recovered, that they can lose, that they can choose the wrong way. And the wrong way is not always simply to choose to use. The wrong way can be simply to choose to be a little less than what they are, that got them out of the addict life. They can choose to be a little less by choosing to be a little wrong, to choosing a little lie, choosing a little of the easy way that isn't the right way, to choose a little bit of the way they used to choose when they were an addict, trying to score, trying to re-up, trying to get their shit, trying to move that tool to get that fool, to get them what they needed so they could score and get high once more. And the addict recovered needs to always be aware, because I am always aware, that I can fall back, that I can digress, that I can go ahead and divest everything that I've gained, all the love that I feel that I'm on the brink, or I have gained, I have recovered. I can lose it all. The addict too, who is like me, less the more, different types. Doesn't matter. If you're an addict, you know what I'm talking about. That addict who lives the way that they do is the addict who chooses to be the way that they be, only because they can't see that the way that they were is the best way, that they should never have been. Because when an addict doesn't want to be themselves anymore, they want to be the sober guy, the sober recovered, they want to be the non-addict life, all they have to do is choose. But remember, the fight is always every day, it's always every way, it's always every moment, it's always all the time. It only becomes less with time.